Hi everybody, and welcome back to our little baking videos. One of the things that I love when I go to a cafe and I get a nice cup of coffee and I want to treat myself is I would get a caramel square or a millionaire shortbread. Now that we're at home, obviously we can't go to cafes and we can't eat those nice treats, but we thought today that we would make them. So we're going to make a caramel square. So what goes into it? Let's have a look at what goes into it. So what we have here, Eliza, is 250 grams of
flour.
Then we've got 75 grams of
Cast sugar.
and then 175 grams of
Butter.
soft butter. So this is plain flour and soft butter. Then over here then, so that's the biscuit base that we're going to make. Then the next layer then is our caramel sauce, which is Ethan's favorite, isn't it? So our caramel sauce, we've got 100 grams of butter, we've got 100 grams of light brown sugar, and then we're going to use 2 cans of condensed milk. So these are 397 gram cans and we're using 2 of them. And then the top layer then, we've got our chocolate. We went for Tesco's Finest milk chocolate. We're going to break both of these up. These are 100 gram bars, we need 200 grams, so we're going to break them up, melt them down, and then that will go over the top. So let's start, guys, with making the shortbread. So you could use biscuits, like digestive biscuits, and break them up, mix them with a bit of butter, but we're going to make our own shortbread because it's quite easy. So the first thing we're going to do is put the flour in, Eliza.
Pour, splat.
And then we'll give that a sieve.
Shake.
Okay, and then Ethan, do you want to add in the sugar?
Okay. All of the butter. Sugar.
Add in the sugar.
Bye-bye, my friend. We have some good times.
Now, just before we started, we all washed our hands, didn't we? So our hands are all clean. So give that a mix around, Ethan.
Yay. So sugary.
Just mix it around.
There you go.
Okay, let me have a look.
It's raining snow. I don't think that's even possible.
Okay, so now we're going to add in our butter, and we're going to do this one at a time, okay? So Eliza, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
And then you can have a bit of
Butter.
mix. And then Ethan, you can have a mix too. So,
Sharing.
when I say one at a time, I mean each of you. But you can add in all the butter. Okay. So squeeze. Mix it all.
Squeeze the life out of it.
So we're using this motion here of pushing it with our thumbs and through our fingers to try and get it into lumps of breadcrumbs. So this is exactly what we're looking for. I'll just bring that up to show you. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to knead this into a dough. So we're going to push it all together, okay? So I have a little bit of flour in a bowl here, and we're going to sprinkle some flour on our worktop, and then we will empty all of this out.
Dump it.
Let me show you what we're going to do first, and then you guys can have a turn, okay? Okay, so let me show you how we're going to do this, okay? So you're going to flip it, and with the palms of your hands, there and there, and like that, okay? Flip it, turn it, okay? Now, Eliza, you going to have a go?
And if you don't know what the palms of your hands are, they're these bits. Well, you probably wouldn't be that smart if you didn't know what the palms of your hands are. But anyways,
You probably wouldn't be baking if you didn't know what the palms of your hands were.
patty cake,
Down like that and turn it, okay?
patty cake,
Yeah.
go patty cake.
So now that our pastry is ready, our shortbread, we're going to take our tray, and we've lined our tray with greaseproof paper, and this is the tray that we're going to bake it in. So this is about 35 centimeters by 23 centimeters in length, okay? So. Okay, so we've rolled this out in the tin. It doesn't actually have to be completely perfect because we're going to be layering this with our caramel sauce. So as it was getting a bit uneven in parts, I just cut off sections of it, put it into another section and rolled it into it. So we're going to prick this now with a fork, and then we're going to put it into the oven and we're going to bake it for about 20 minutes.
And it also doesn't have to be perfect because everything isn't perfect.
Life lesson for the day.
Life lesson. Into the oven it goes.
Okay, so while the shortbread is in the oven, what's the next thing we got to do?
The caramel.
The caramel. So we've got 100 grams of butter, we have 100 grams of light brown sugar, and then we've got our 2 cans of condensed milk. So let's get it into a pot and then we'll get it onto the heat.
3, 2, 1.
Try and keep it in the pot.
Try aim for the pot. Try bury everything inside.
Ethan, you're pushing me out of the pot.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
Could I have this?
You have a taste.
Oh, spilling. That's not a good idea. Put it in the can.
We're going to keep stirring the caramel while it's heating, just until it changes to a nice brown colour. The darkness of the colour is going to depend on the brown sugar that you used. The sugar that we used was quite light, so this is not going to go completely to a dark brown. I think this is the darkest we're going to get it, and we're happy with that. Okay, so we have our pastry here out of the oven. This is nice and cool, exactly as we want it. And then the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to pour our caramel sauce over it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, look at that. How good does that look? So we're going to let this cool down, and then the next step after that is we're going to melt our chocolate and pour chocolate on top. So this is a stage process. It does take a little bit of time between each stage to cool down, but trust me, it's worth it in the end.
Or is it?
Next in our making our caramel squares is we're going to melt the chocolate. So we've got 2 bars of our chocolate, so let's open them up, guys, and break them up into our little pot here. What we have here is we have a pot of boiling water underneath,
It's nicely packed.
and then we have our bowl on top. So we're going to melt the chocolate, but not over direct heat, so we're not going to burn the chocolate. So let's go,
Look at that
break it
one.
up into there.
Daddy, look, it used to be a picture. Chocolate. I'll do it.
Okay, so break them up.
They look nice.
Looks really nice, doesn't it?
Can I eat one?
No.
I'm the guest.
You're not the guest.
I'm a chef guest.
So we're going to return this to the heat just to intensify the heat so that we can melt it a bit more, and then we'll come back. Okay, look. So we have this melted. So
Chocolate. Chocolate.
the best part of melting chocolate is what?
You lick the spoon.
There you go.
Or special.
Spatula.
Okay, so
Whatever.
I think we are completely melted here. Let's have a look and see.
Stir it.
I've just taken our caramel and shortbread out of the fridge, so it's nearly set, and we're going to add the chocolate onto the top. Yeah.
Shortbread. It's so short.
You have to be quick here with this one so that the chocolate.
Something doesn't
Doesn't
happen that
go
we don't
cold.
want it to happen.
There you go. So that's our chocolate spread all the way across the top. and then this will go back into the fridge, and it will stay in the fridge until it is set, and then we can cut it up into our little squares, and we can enjoy
With
it.
our hands. Chop.
Let's get it back in the fridge.
And cut.
Our caramel shortbread has been in the fridge setting for the last, I'd say probably what, 2 or 3 hours. So I think it's ready
It's a
now.
long time.
So let me jump in there. I'm going to lift it out onto this, and then we can cut it.
With
Oh my
And all the caramelly goo. is
god.
there.
Caramelly, go. Don't you get these in cafes?
Yep. That's why we're making them.
Oh. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my god. Oh my god.
It makes a lot.
It does. So we take this one out.
And eat it.
Now, look at that, Mammy.
Can I eat it?
That is
Wow.
exactly like you would get in
Perfecto.
cafe.
Oh, yummy.
Need to bring it
Can I
across.
bite it?
We really do.
Okay, so then the most important test. Ah, fingers.
The taste test.
Yep.
Smaller again.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
And enjoy your things. Wait, what are they called?
What's the last recipe, Ethan? Last thing to do.
Chuck in.